It's the Trinity MMO Show. Well, hey! Welcome, everyone, to the Trinity MMO Show, special edition. We are sitting here on a Sunday night, not a Saturday night. Okay? Thanks for joining us for some good old MMO news, and each week at 6 p.m. Pacific, usually on Saturdays on the Coffee and RPG Network. Today we do have a special guest in the house. We have Lurkor. He's also a very well-known, and very knowledgeable person in MMOs. Okay, yeah. And as always, we also have our fount of MMO knowledge, Sir Jaziel, in the house.
Hello.
Solomon SK is not available because he has a real-life job, which obviously is coming right now. That's the one thing about being the new person on Totem Pole. You have to accept the fact that you're doing the dirty job sometimes, you know? Yeah, so anyways, true. Most of you are probably watching this on YouTube, and so that's fine. But we'll have some fun here. If you have been watching us in the past, you may have seen Lurkor in our chat now and then. He always brings good stuff to the table, so I always enjoy having his stuff there. So we thought, why not have him on the show? Each week we do... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I am quite the MMO head, obviously, but and though some people may blame nepotism, I actually am bringing something to the table today. So thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not as I try to hide anything, but Lurkor is my son. You know, everybody knows I have 4 kids. I have 1 son and 3 girls, so 3 daughters. So there is my son. Each week we bring you the top picks and opinions on the world of MMO. Since we are fans and players, we won't hold anything back to anybody who likes playing MMOs that we don't like to play, but that's fine. Not going to mention it, you know, but no.
Shots already?
I know.
Wow.
Harvest time brings a harvesting of MMO news and insights and opinions. Hey, Dirty Plunger, welcome here. So first up, we'll do my button. It's time for some quests! All right, the Trinity Daily Quest, where all of your quests begin. And who better to start you off than your Trinity Game Masters? So first up, if you don't... Huh?
I said, and me.
Well, you're one. Okay, maybe you're one of the Padawan. Okay, so I don't know. So BlizzConline. Yes, try to say that without laughing. Okay, not BlizzCon, which was canceled, but they're calling it BlizzConline. Sure. We all knew it was coming in February. They already announced it coming in February 19th and 20th. But guess what? They made it free! All right, so that's not bad, okay? So that would be kind of cool. Because usually if you know about BlizzCon, it's always in Anaheim area, I think it is, right? At least Southern California, maybe Long Beach in the past too. But they always had a version of watching it online for a cost. So they made it free. So there you go. So if you want to, if you go check out J. Allen Black has a fireside. Is it Black or Brack?
Brack.
Brack. J. Allen Brack has a fireside chat video you can watch so you can find all the good things he's doing, okay? Now, if you are a superhero fan, DCUO, I know, Marvel over DC, but hey, we'll go with this time, okay? Long Live the Legion has launched November 5th. Apparently, Saturn Girl, Cosmic Boy, and Lightning Lad work together to figure out just Mordu has been planning as chaos occurs in Metropolis. In the 31st century, you'll travel in time with the Teen Titans to save the day. So for all you Teen Titan fans there, if you don't play that game, but I don't really, even though I do play Champions Online, not necessarily in the same league. I think DCUO is much better, even though I don't play. Guild Wars 2, I know you're all saddened about this, okay, but it is not coming to Steam in 2020. There's no date for the future. They had promised to having it coming this year, but apparently something's up. Who knows what, but who cares? I don't really care.
What's wrong with Guild Wars 2? You got some problems? Jeez.
No, I don't care about coming to Steam. If I do play Guild Wars 2, I play it off of the launcher I already have. That's why.
It's probably more for their benefit that they're on Steam than the player base, you know?
Oh, yeah.
More accessibility.
But it makes you wonder. They
Absolutely.
didn't tell. Sorry.
Yeah, I had actually mentioned this on the last episode that it wasn't going to be coming. What?
Oh, was it? Okay, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, it's speculation is that because they're working on the end of the Icebrood saga right now, as well as the next expansion, that they want to finish those up, and then they're going to work on getting the infrastructure and everything ready for the Steam launch. So my guess is late spring, early summer. We'll see.
Sorry, I missed
That's
that last
probably
one.
pretty close.
Okay.
Not a
And
bad
my
idea.
final.
Sorry, not a bad idea to release it on Steam and new content together, right? Really
Yeah,
like
sure.
build hype and get people to, it's accessible on Steam, so
Right.
maybe they'll see some more players based on that.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's what they're hoping for. All the more
Yes.
player base coming in for Steam. That's why it's kind of surprising they didn't do this. So, last bit of news. It's not really MMO related new, but Assassin's Creed Valhalla launches tomorrow at 9:01 p.m. Pacific time, because technically that's 12:01 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, so if you're ready to play it, I am. I'm playing it tomorrow. I got a free copy because I bought a AMD CPU, so why not? Vikings for the win. So we'll see how it is. Okay, so that's my brief stuff. So Jazil, it is your turn. What do you have for our daily quest?
All right, so for this week, there were several little smaller bits, but I kind of picked out the bigger of them to share with all of you. Now, I was talking with these two little handsome gentlemen. I've said lovely in the past, but I'm not so sure that goes with. Although in this day and age, anyway, I know I'm going to catch flack for mentioning an MMO that is mobile, but maybe the genre / the name that goes along with it will redeem me a little bit. But Virtual Realms has been working on a mobile MMO for Warhammer Odyssey, and it's looking like they are very close to releasing it on both iOS and Android. Possibly even by the end of the year. They've released 2 little trailers here in the past week. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Not very exciting. Not much gameplay included in them. They're kind of just little cartoons thrown on there that they're okay, but I'd rather see some gameplay. Honestly, I'm not too sure if I'm going to be playing it. As you know, I'm not a huge fan of any games really on my phone. I use my phone for texting and talking because I'm an old geezer, I guess. But you know, Warhammer's something that always interested me, and I didn't really play the MMO version on the PC for Warhammer in the past, but maybe I'll give this one a try. It does sound like the those who have done alpha and even some who were in the beta have said it's actually not too bad, but they're like me, they would rather have something on PC. But anyway, the next bit of news: Black Desert has launched its Prestige editions, which everyone was looking forward to, or at least you console players on PS4 and Xbox One. And it looks like it's going for $29.99 here in the United States anyway, so you'll have to break that down whatever currency you're using in your neck of the woods. And they're saying that it will be next-gen compatible, so if you're going to be one of those first few folks that are able to actually get a hold of one, first of all, and second of all, be able to pay for it, if you're getting the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, it is going to be able to transfer over to those just fine. And we'll see how that works out for them, but it sounds like they've got it all worked out. $30 doesn't sound like a terrible deal, honestly.
Yeah, it's in between. It's just enough where it might entice you, yet it's too expensive just to drop it automatically.
I know. I hate even mentioning the game, being that the guy who's That's his primary.
I noticed that. that
Yeah, I hate to mention it.
Video fishing.
Yeah, I know that Solomon would have loved to have covered that, but in his absence, Solomon, I devote this section to you.
I was debating on setting up my laptop back there with some sort of fishing to go on, so I could really try and stand in.
You should have. You should have.
Awesome. Good knock off to Solomon. Okay, yeah.
But yeah,
I'd be surprised that if BDO's price went down as it goes, they have a tendency to release their game for like a higher price, and then later they just slash it down to because of there's like so much, they make so much money off their microtransactions that there's really no point like having a super high entry fee into their game.
I imagine that it may even happen this. Well, I don't know. We already have Black Friday coming up. It's a little too close to. I was thinking maybe we might even see by the end of the year like a $10 discount or something, and bring it down to $19.99. But hey, $30 ain't that bad, guys. And it looks like it plays really well on the consoles. I don't play it on the console myself. When I do play it, I do it on PC. But there you have it. And like I said, if you're going to be picking up the next gen consoles, no worries there. It's going to work on those just fine. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hopefully, cross your fingers. The last bit of news: the MMO FPS game Warframe, that I know some of you that watch our show have dabbled in that here and there, will be ready for the PS5 this year. I know there was some thought that maybe it's not going to be ready till 2021, but they're saying as of 2 days ago that it's ready. It's ready to go. It will be on the PS5 this year, and it will be available on the Xbox Series X pretty close to the beginning of 2021, if not maybe a month or two in. And there's been a whole lot of graphical improvements, as well as lighting and textures looks way better. It looks pretty awesome, actually. I'm not going to lie. And I may have to try it out on our Series X when I get that in. And I'll let you guys know what it looks like on there. But normally I play it on PC, but you know, if my my fun son can get off of Fortnite for long enough, maybe I can sneak some Warframe time in there on the Xbox. But again, the additional news on that is it's going to be cross-gen playable as well. So if you're not able, like I said earlier, if you're not able to pick those up because they're selling out like hotcakes, or you don't have the finances to do so yet, don't worry. It is going to play just fine on your Xbox One or your PS4. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that a little bit. I have to admit, it's a pretty fun game, and it's improved. It's improved. It's a much better game than when I first started playing it. So maybe y'all might want to check that out. It is a free to play game, so
it's free to play. Yep, I have tried it. It's kind of fun.
Warframe was always one of those games that I wanted to like look into as far as like games that I wanted to check out, but I just remember there is definitely an investment that you need to put into that game. Right?
Yeah, I don't want to call it pay to win, but you will end up wanting to invest some money into it and time, lots of time,
lots of time. Yeah,
lots of time. In other words, it's another World of Warcraft. You won't want to play anything else.
I mean, we are MMO players, so we're used to it, right?
That's what I was thinking. All right, that's all for Jaziel. Lurkor, take us on the daily questions you got for us.
Right. So, this was more relevant. We were doing it on Saturday, but World of Warcraft is having a free weekend this weekend,
which is still the weekend.
Technically,
I mean, if you're on East Coast, it's already you're already getting ready for work. But yeah, but on November 10th, so in a couple days, they're going to have their second part of the pre-patch coming out, which is their Scourge Invasion, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
That's right.
I think it's going to be somewhat similar to the the Wrath of the Lich King one,
Yes.
where zombies will start infecting towns and people will get sad
The dead
and turn
walk
into
the
zombies.
earth.
It'll be interesting. Yeah.
That should be fun. You guys, I mean, you guys are both playing WoW right now, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I actually was playing Droy last night, getting him leveled up to 46.
Ooh,
Get to a 50. I know. I was like, wow. I haven't played Droid in a long time.
old school.
Yep.
Secondly, as the Final Fantasy 14 representative, I feel like I need to make sure that the Final Fantasy 14 news is known
Better.
here in this on this podcast. So next month, early next month, they're going to release their patch 5.4, which is going to see more of the main story quest. So like what they normally do is they have the first 3 like 5.1, 5.2, 5.3 patches, which kind of finish the expansion story, and then from 4 on they start moving you towards the next expansion. So that should be exciting to see. There's going to be a new raid, there's going to be a new trial. Blue Mage is getting level up advancements so that you can run around and try and capture even more monster abilities. And there's a whole bunch more stuff. It's great. And lastly, just to make us all feel old, EverQuest 2 is having its 16th anniversary.
2. I mean, it's EQ 2, not 1. 2.
Yeah. EverQuest 2, 16th anniversary.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. There you go. I only played a little bit of it, but I never really got into it.
I dabbled, I think, if I recall, just because we tried it.
It was on Sony Online Entertainment platform, if you guys remember those launchers.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Sony
Yeah,
Online.
At the time, EverQuest 2, when it came out, it had the most voice acting in it, and they actually had several like pretty popular voice actors on there, including a couple of Hollywood actors. Yeah, it was going to be a really big deal, but I got on there, I played for about 3 months, and then WoW came out, so...
Yeah, that's why I think I dabbled EQ, because I was a crossover between Camelot and WoW, and also when I stopped playing games.
Yeah,
we bought that because I think we have some of the boxes still for EQ too, if I recall.
Yeah, I think I played for maybe 2 weeks, maybe, and then I was like, Then I went back to something else.
Yeah.
All right, we finished our dailies. Now we're going on to the next thing.
Once upon a time, there were 3 brothers, known as the Trinity Bros, who told stories of opinions of MMOs.
Time for some Trinity Bros opinions with this Trinity story quest. Now, in the notes, Lurkor had MSQ, and I didn't know what he talked about. Is that monosodium glutamate? No, but that's different, okay? So now you know it's main story quest. So maybe I should just change this from story quest time to the main story quest. So anyways.
There's main story quests in World of Warcraft now, you know?
That's what I was trying to do. I'm titling this based on the story quest. But I didn't realize there was the main. So that's why I'm going to change this. Anyway, so guess what? We evolve and we change and we adapt, right? So anyways, last week we talked about what was the best way to travel around, wherever it was, walking, riding, flying, swimming, whatever it is, okay? And we realized, I think basically is that it's great to learn the game by walking, slowly get to the point where you're an expert, you've been doing the game for a long time, just traveling now, no big deal. But anyways, it was mentioned about it would be great if it could have mount customization. So we touched on it last week, and I felt it was right to continue the discussion and bring on some new perspectives because Lurkor's here too, okay? So mount customization. Now, me personally, I have not been a collector of mounts. I have mounts. I don't mind having a mount. Once I get a mount that flies, I'm good with that. Now, knowing that we put a lot of effort, into their character look, their character outfits, okay? And just everything they do, and the mount just sits there. And it's also part of what you see as you're riding along. So, Lurkor, what are your thoughts about mount customization? Has there been any games they have had mount customization.
Interesting that you should bring this up when your normal co-host isn't here. Black Desert Online is very big on there's gear that you get for your mounts, and there's different mounts. There's like breeding and all sorts of other stuff that you can do with, so you can customize your mounts quite a bit. I think that it's just like a nice bonus to have in a video in an MMO, like just having an extra layer of stuff on top of it. But I feel like it's a lot of work to put in that someone has to, like, in order to like make sure that, you know, all these mounts are like of similar build so that they can have similar gear, or, you know, that sort of stuff. I guess for the question of like what I think about mount customization, are we talking about like gear for it, like gear for it, or are we talking about like, you know, the different types of mounts, you know, that sort of thing?
That's a good question. I know that was brought up last week, and you're right. I think that Solomon didn't mention BDO. That's a good question. Maybe let's expand upon that. What do you think? What should be then? If we have or should have, well, obviously, if we want it, what should it be?
I think mount customization is a nice addition for any MMO, but it's just all about the resources it takes to implement that into the game, right? Where it's like, we would love to have some like in World of Warcraft, if you could just take out your whatever mount, your plain strider or whatever, and then like, you know, add like take off pieces of armor and add different pieces of armor. People would love that, but can you imagine the workload that would put on the devs to put in? I think as far as like an MMO goes, I don't need it, but it's a nice happy addition when it's there.
That's a good point about the dev side of thing. I hadn't thought about that. That's additional more assets, additional more probably lag for your computer, or I'm sure there are people who would love to do that and just duck it all out the way they want to. So, Jazil, about you? You want mount customization, or if it is, what just overall thoughts about it?
I want to say thank you.
It's that handing. it happens to Deucin on a Bible study. You always think it's handed food from his kid. You know, it's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Like me sometimes when I get handed a plate of food, you know, okay, yeah.
That's true. I've seen that happen to you.
Yeah.
So I see it going down two different roads here when I think of customization. On one hand, I think of the visual aspect, and on the other hand, I think of the utility aspect of it. The utility aspect of it, I think of as being, I suppose, the best way I can think of it is how it's done in Elder Scrolls Online, where you've got the ability to do stamina and speed, as well as
carrying
equipment slots. You know, that you can actually have more bag slots to put your things into if you're going around collecting materials or what have you. And then there is the other aspect of it, of how the mount looks and being able to customize the visualization of it. I think the way that World of Warcraft has done it, and most games do with that, is that you just collect different colored mounts. They're just recolors of the same mount. You know, you'll have 5 or 6 different colors of the same mount, and then you go and you can collect different mounts, and they all have recolors as well. Now, that's fine. That's serviceable, as I've said in the past. But I kind of would like, as Lurkor was saying, I kind of would like, even though I recognize it would take more work, that I could maybe, as you improve the stats on the mount, that are, again, on the utility side, as your utility goes up, that the mount, more optimizations, or not optimizations, but more options are available to you for different armor pieces, or any kind of bling that you want to put on it, for lack of a better way to say it, to customize it further from there. I think that most of the MMOs that are out now, that they've kind of put themselves in a corner that making that kind of change would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because they would have to roll everything back, and there's people that have already spent lots of time. I'm pointing at myself here. Even years trying to get certain mounts that are very unique in the game. Ashes of Alara, I'm talking about you. Thanks for not dropping for the past, how many ever years it's been, 14 years. So I don't see that they could do it now for games that are being worked on right now, say New World and games like that. It would be really kind of cool to see them do something different there. And I'd love to do that, because I do get into transmog and you know, where putting some different armor set on my character visually, you know, every so often, just to change things up. And it'd be really neat if I could match the mount up to that as well. Kind of like I do with my jeans and t-shirt. And, you know, it depends on what jeans and t-shirt that I put on, or what pair of tennis shoes I'm going to put on, because I want to match, even though I'm wearing the same stuff I was back in 1985, you know?
Yeah, I guess
So go ahead, Lurkor.
So I guess it's interesting. Like, would you rather have mount customization that makes it so that all the mounts are somewhat similar, but you can dress them up in different armors, or would you rather have the mounts being like really varied? So, like in World of Warcraft, we're talking about like Ashes of Alar versus your Nightsaber versus your Mammoth versus, you know, like you have all these different types of mounts. But then, like in Black Desert Online, you have everyone's a horse, and then like they're variations of the horse, and you just dress them up in different, like you dress your horse up in different ways. Which one would you rather have?
First one, I think. Yeah, I like the varied. Yeah, I like that there's, you know, tiger mounts, there's horse mounts, there's different flying mounts, you know, there's drakes, and I think just having one style would make it way easier on the devs, as you were saying, and on the guys and gals that work on the customization, because there would have to be a team put onto just that specific task, because we're really the people that are into transmogrification are really greedy people that need new stuff to adventure for and to gather on a consistent basis. So you would have to have a team devoted to that. And having one, like you said, you know, just having horses would make it way easier for them. But for people like me, it'd get kind of stale after a year or two. I think just having that one style, I would be craving that variance that we have with, like you said, World of Warcraft.
I would go with the horses. You can style them up. I was looking at some old pictures of my Dark Age Camelot, some photos. I'm trying to find some WoW stuff, and I found some of my Calibus von Kawanakoa, the Crimson Knight. You know, I love the fact that I could actually put a red color. Now, mind you, I wasn't a big person. I don't recall ever transmogging anything in WoW. I'm not sure when it first came into the WoW, but I have not transmogged anything that I recall. I might have done the quest that kind of showed you how to do it, but so to me, that's why I'm not the guy. I'm the guy who's like, yeah, I'll dress my horse up or my mount up, but not really a big deal. What about you, Lurkor? What would you choose?
That's tough. I might choose the standard mounts, but then again, I'm not like a huge mount. I'm more about character armor, and mounts are kind of just point A to point B for me. There are some really cool ones, like in Final Fantasy 14, they have like a ridiculous array of mounts where it's like you have a horse, but then you have like the motorcycle that Cloud rides in like Advent Children, and then you have like a giant claw that just picks your character up from the scruff of their neck and then drags them around. And so that's really cool. I think I could go either way, like either side of the fence.
Yeah, that's good. That was that's why I thought it was a good topic to talk about because mount customization is something that I hadn't thought about, and it was a really cool idea. All right, we have now got finished the story quest. Now on to our escort.
Walk with us as we escort you to safety, experience, and the adventure of a lifetime.
Is Lyra stuck in that room?
She is. Let me just let her out real quick.
Well,
no, she's going crazy.
Is she? Yeah. I'll wait for Lurkor to get back. I can always slice this out of the video.
Pay no attention to the man behind the screen. Thank you.
All right, the Trinity Escort Quest, where we lead to safety, experience, and the adventure of a lifetime. So this one came up from Lurkor. That was a really good idea, and so let's talk about it. Has the MMO player base, a really good one, player base leveled up so much that we can't have old school MMOs anymore? When that question got first popped into the chat, I'm like, interesting, because I playing WoW again, went back to Lich King area, Northrend, and started playing those quests. And of course, I'm a lot higher up now. They were basically really easy to do. It felt like can't go back. And it's also the fact that I hate old school graphics and old school type of stuff. And I'm wondering that for all of us who have been playing games for a while, especially since we're beyond 20 years, I think, from when EverQuest first came out, or even before that was Ultima Online. Not the MUDs. I'm talking about the MUDs. Okay, we're talking about the first real MMO graphic stuff. Been 20 plus years, and a lot of us, of course, who are older, even Lurkor, who he's younger, but he's also been around for a while. We've all leveled up. That's a good question. It's like, is it? That's why I kickstarted some games because of the pedigree of people doing it, but there have been games who literally advertise old school. I mean, leveling. Because for those who don't remember, Dark Age of Camelot, when you died, you lost XP. Now, mind you, you wouldn't go below your level, okay? But you could go back down to be almost the next level and to be back to zero again. And that was a hard school, old school type of thing where it's like grind. Makes it really hard. So have we leveled up? That's good. So I'm going to go to Lurkor since you put that question in the chat there. What do you think?
I think the player base is so much more advanced as far as gameplay goes, that any sort of MMO that like the old school MMO, if you were to bring it into modern day, then it's not gonna survive. Where it's like we had back in the day with your Dark Age Camelots, even your WoW Classic. Like WoW Classic's a perfect example of it, where they brought WoW Classic back, and then WoW Classic was known for its janky sort of class balance, and the raids were very intense, but then also not as explored. And I feel like there's so many more eyes on the game, and we've leveled up so much. The mathematicians, the statisticians, the big number crunchers, the min maxers have leveled up so much that if you look at a WoW Classic raid today, then it's like such a high percentage of just mage and warriors and rogues, right? Because they're like the highest damage dealers, and all other classes are just thrown to the wayside. And so I think that the player base has leveled up so much as far as what we're able to find out, and then how we're able to share that information, that class balance and balance in general is such a big part of playing an MMO these days, that we can never go back to sort of the janky sandbox stuff, at least for the mainstream MMO. It's very possible for smaller player bases to thrive in more sandboxy sort of ways. But if any of those old MMOs were to get picked up today, and let's say EverQuest had a resurgence, or Dark Age of Camelot had a resurgence, those games would be found out, and those games would be their landscape would totally.
That's a good point. I mean, for those people who want old school games, they could go back to those two games and have old school games. Good point. It's interesting because it's like, I said I've always talked about the fact that I make a point of this. I don't like 8K graphics. I lived it. I lived through it. I am done with it. With the younger generation, it was like, hey, this is all cool, retro, really cool, neat. I'm like, no, not going back. Okay, Jazeel, what do your thoughts are? Has the MMO player base leveled up so much we can't have old school MMOs anymore?
There are a small number of people, I would say, who, whatever you want to give it to, possibly nostalgia and possibly other factors, such as that when you make any kind of achievement in those games, when you reach the pinnacle of that, whatever it is, whether it's getting an achievement or a title or a piece of armor or a weapon, something that represents all that work that you put in, all that time, blood, sweat, and tears, even that you put into it, there's something to be said for that, for feeling like I worked my tail off for this. And when people see me with that Thunder Fury or whatever, or that specific Drake or whatever it is, people know, oh, that probably took him months to get. Or a Paladin walking around with a full set of Retribution gear or whatever. You know, it could have taken them a whole year to get that. With, especially for World of Warcraft people that remember, that was a 40-person raid, and sometimes you would have 5 or so other paladins with you that you had to take turns collecting that gear. So I understand that, and I agree to a point that, man, it is really cool to be able to show, hey, I've got this, and you know that everyone that's passing by your character, your avatar, knows how much dedication you've given to the game to get that. However, I would venture to say, I don't know, I haven't taken any polls or anything. It would be interesting to do so, though.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon that there are far more MMO people that that'd be a pretty tough sell. There are some games out there that are claiming that when they are released, they're going to be that old EverQuest style. There's not even going to be quest markers, kind of a thing. Yeah. And your map is something that you go around and collect little pieces of, and it just, you put it together by blocks, basically. It's not even a fog of war map. You have no idea the shape of the continent that you're on or anything even. That's going to be a really hard sell, I think, especially for anyone, I would say, under the age of 35, 30 especially.
Yeah.
Us older guys, I think it would be something that we would be a little bit more interested in, but then again, all of the main games that we always bring up, Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls Online and Guild Wars 2 and Black Desert and all the leading ones right now have made it pretty easy for us. And I don't think we're willing to give up the utility and the user friendliness of the modern MMO. We are just so comfy now. It is. I have to admit, when we did our little experiment last year with Classic, when we played that for that couple months, it seems like I found myself getting add-ons to make it feel more like retail.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I actually had a couple of guys that were messaging me when I was streaming it on Twitch that were saying, well, what are you doing, man? I thought you went back for the nostalgia, and you went back because you wanted to feel that old school vibe, and yet you're turning the UI to make it look just like it does on retail, and you're downloading all these add-ons that do what retail does.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't like that stuff. That's why you went to classic, and I kind of had to sit back and go, you know what, they're kind of right, and I did end up a couple months later going back to retail. I think those games can be fun, but it's going to be a tough sell. Like, if Pantheon ever does come out, it's been they've been working on it for years. Seems like a decade at this point. I may be close to that, actually. I just, guys in my age group and yours, Kenneth, and we're only 9 years apart. I think might be a little interested in it, but our partner over here, your son, maybe less so. And then people younger than him, I'm pretty sure they're not gonna. They may give it a go. They'll last about a week, and then they'll be like, "Oh, this is way." I like a challenge. I like a challenge, but that's more than a challenge.
Right.
So yeah.
So WoW Classic, for me, the UIs made it classic. Okay, the add-ons turned my screen into what I remember playing as a classic. Okay, so there's that. So for me, it wasn't. I was playing old schools. I wanted to actually do the old school raids. I never did Molten Core in the classic. Didn't do it now either, classic. So, and I also think about the fact that the player level. I think the players had leveled up because also back then there weren't a lot of games. When I was playing Camelot, I mean, yeah, there was EQ. I don't know what else was out there at the time. I knew you mentioned Meridian in the past, and it was like when WoW was coming out, everyone was like all excited, and people talking about it in Camelot and through the chat was like, wow, because you can dance. And I'm like, what? Who cares about dancing in WoW? But like, you can, I mean, definitely the women in our guild were like all excited about your characters dancing. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm like, I don't really care, but all right. So I think the player base has leveled up. And so we can't have old school MMOs as a major portion of the MMO. There will always be niche. EVE Online is an example of a niche game. Okay, it does fine as well. Hearts of Camelot still exists. Okay, and they have several servers. It still exists because it still makes money at that level. Even EverQuest 2 is coming out with their expansion, which is great. And then EQ1 is still out there. So long as people, Meridian, I mean, I didn't know it because one of the guys who did Meridian passed away. I guess apparently he did some kind of special thing with that. So like, what, Meridian still exists? I mean, it's like, okay. And I was talking to a guy last night who actually was, I'm over in Taiwan. I'm an American in Taiwan teaching English to Taiwanese. I play WoW. Like, oh, you should join us. No, I play peace servers. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's the reason why there's Classic. He's playing a Lich King peace server, and I'm like, okay. I was thinking, I don't know if I want to go that far back, okay? But I don't know. It's interesting that people do like to have it. It's a niche server. Cities of Heroes has a peace server, so there are people who like to go back. But I think that the question that Lurkor put in is that the answer is the MMO player base has leveled up. So you won't have old school MMOs anymore. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
Niche or niche? Okay.
Albeit that you do have to give. I don't know if you would. Okay, I'm going to go out. It's a little bit of a shaky, small, crickety limb here. So catch me if I fall. But I will say, having played, especially since I have NordVPN, not a sponsor, I'm able to get away with playing several, or trying out, I should say, not playing them full time, Asian market MMOs, and I can say that they do have they're very notorious for being extremely grindy, especially compared to those produced both here in the United States as well as in Europe. they tend to be a lot easier than the games that they're putting out, especially the MMO genre over there in Asia. China and Korea for sure, and even Japan a little bit. Theirs are a little bit easier, but and I will say that the grindiness does remind me of those old school, like I said, Dark Age of Camelot, EverQuest. We'll leave the MUDs out of it. I think you're right with doing that. And even Anarchy Online, we mentioned that a couple times recently. That they were more grindy. And so some of those, there are still, and it's not just a niche, because there's way more Asians playing than us folks over here in North America and Canada, Mexico, and South America combined. So I don't reluctant to even call it a niche, because there's millions and millions of people that do enjoy that grindiness still. Just to be fair, to tack that on there is just being fair, that to look at it from a global perspective, that there are still people that enjoy that aspect of it.
I think that you can find like an interesting balance in between the two, where there's still those achievements. Like there's like the ridiculous achievements in World of Warcraft. You're talking about like Lore Master and like stuff like that, where you're like doing quests across the like there's still, I think that there's the current MMO is trying to find a balance in between the two, at least the big ones.
Absolutely.
Where it's like low barrier of entry, but then like there are those like far out there achievements or mounts and stuff that you can still get and you can still show off. Like in Final Fantasy, they recently had a crafting like tournament, basically, where you like a bunch of crafters, you would craft like these really hard recipes, and then you would turn them in, and that would get you a set amount of points. And the top 12 of each of the crafting classes got a special title that's called like Saint of the Firmament. And so they'll be like, you can see like, oh wow, like that person is they're a Saint of the Firmament. They got like the title, like and there's still things that they can put in that will fill that sort of accomplishment and grind. But then at the same time, it's like, but if you don't have to do that, you can just go in and play through the story, or play through like get your character up, do a couple raids, turn it off. That's fine. And I think that a lot of the most successful MMOs are the ones that kind of find that balance. You cater to both your 1 month players and your lifers, right?
So let me ask you a question. You mentioned the Asian market. I was wondering if I don't know when MMOs first hit the Asian market, and I was wondering if whether or not they're like, say, they're just 10 years behind us. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying, okay, that they're not. Okay, I was thinking like maybe they're still in the early stages of what MMOs are, from liking the grinding, because they haven't got the point where they got so tired of it. Their player base hasn't leveled up enough.
I think it's more of a cultural difference.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of a way to say this without disparaging or looking like I'm anti-American or something like that.
I know what you mean. There's like there's definitely a cultural difference in between the Asian cultures and like and Western culture. I mean, everyone can see that, right? And like it comes out in a bunch of different things. And I think Sir Jaziel is going to touch on it, but yeah, I think that's one of the big points.
Absolutely. It's just a different mindset, and our family systems are different here than well, pretty much the rest of the world, it seems like at this point. But especially if you're talking the Chinese and the even down in the South Asia, that they tend to have much more pride in their work. Again, I love America, so don't take me wrong here. We just here in North America, we're a lot more relaxed, and I grew up in Santa Barbara, so I totally get it. I say dude and man constantly. You all hear it. I'm very relaxed, and if I could be floating out in the middle of a lake right now fishing, I absolutely would. That's how I like life. And you know, I never felt like growing up that getting, I was a 4.0 student. I got straight A's. I was in extracurricular activities. I was in all the nerdy clubs, including the chess club and drama and all that stuff. And I never felt like, I would get home and my parents were just like, yeah, good job. It wasn't a big deal. But having friends that have shared with me, and having traveled in my younger days back in the 90s, to different parts of the world, and seeing how they are with their children, and with the children are with their parents and whatnot, there's a lot more pride in like doing a good job and accomplishing goals that are very difficult. And there's it's a totally different thing than it is from Western culture. Now, I'm not going to paint with a huge wide brush here, or try not to, but I will say in general, that's what I have noticed, that it seems like that's why they enjoy the grindiness and whatnot far more in their culture, is that when they accomplish something, there's a lot more accolades for it, and there's a lot more like, hey, I put work into this. Like I said earlier, blood, sweat, and tears, and hours of dedication to do this. And there's a lot more of their friends and their family that, even though it's just a video game, that they're like, hey, we'd rather you were a doctor or a lawyer or something, but that's pretty cool, man. We're, high five. And here in America, it just seems like we have a whole lot of parents that are just like, it's a video game. My dad is like that. I can't share anything with him that I get in a video game. He doesn't. And he's a gamer. He plays Battlefield like crazy.
Okay.
And yet he still is just like, even when I was playing Battlefield, and was like, dude, I got this gun or this knife or whatever, and he was just like, yeah, okay. I'm like, dude, it took me like 3 months to get that. So that's what I've seen. And I could, maybe it's way too wide of a brush, like I said.
I
but
think you got a point, because I think it shows that Americans do have a little bit of lack of patience. We are definitely on the go. There's been talk about the fact that Americans are too much on the go to the point where they can't slow down. Companies are actually trying to force people into taking their PTO, because you need to take a break. Okay, people talk about all the time, like,
Sure.
I'm always electronically connected, right? I can't get away from my job, and turn their phone off, and just people are just like, go, right? And so that in a game, they want to get it in a game, play it real fast, get out, because they don't have time for it. But you're right. I think that's a good point. I mean, I think how our societies are structured, even with regards to how we do our job, how we do our school, how we do that, also plays into how we play the games too.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good discussion, guys. Thank you so much. That was really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting near the end. World events. We do have WoW Shadowlands coming up on November 23rd. Yes, check the calendar. It is a Monday. Why in the world Blizzard is doing a Monday, not a Tuesday? Because usually patches come in Tuesday morning and they do things. But anyways, so Monday the 23rd. When we finally get the dates, we'll know about it. We'll do a launch party. We'll do a pre-show, assuming there's an actual time for it. And then we'll actually get into WoW Shadowlands. Coming up this Tuesday is the pre whatever you call it. We already had the pre-expansion patch. This is now another patch. Like Lurkor said, we're definitely having the. He just said it. I forgot about it now.
Scourge Invasion.
Scourge Invasion. Thank you so much. And so yeah. But anyway, join us the 23rd. We'll get more information as we go along. All right, our quests are done. The dungeons are looted. And crafting dailies are completed. It's time to go AFK.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't log out of games anymore, right? We just go AFK.
Not with people go fishing nowadays. Yeah, you just all right. So where can we find you, Lurkor?
My online presence is big. I guess
fine.
I have a Twitch, twitch.tv/Lurkor. I have a Twitter, but you're not allowed to follow me. So
That's fine. What MMOs are you currently playing?
as always, I'm playing Final Fantasy 14. Been debating on booting up WoW and messing around a little bit, so I might see you guys on there in a bit.
Yes.
We are on Silver Moon. Anybody wants to join us? We're Silver Moon Horde. Okay, if you want to join us. All right. So Jazil, what can we find you? What MMO are you currently playing?
Right now, I am 90% of my time's in World of Warcraft. I did boot up Elder Scrolls Online again last night, just to say hello to everybody in the guild and see how everybody's doing, and go ahead and do some more writs. Why not?
Yeah,
I was on.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've been kind of still working on my EDM project behind the scenes, and I'm really trying to get that together. So I have some music to release to everybody, hopefully this January.
Awesome.
I was hoping for maybe Christmas, but I don't know. You all might get a Christmas gift. But
Well, I was thinking
other than that,
you need to devise a song that needs to be the song that I dance to or create a dance to it. I don't know.
oh, I could.
A
That's pretty easy.
Kennethan premiere. I don't know. Apparently, Godfuzz paid for me to do Napoleon Dynamite dance next Saturday. So,
Oh.
that's how it goes. I got. I
I don't
That's
know.
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of it. I don't know the whole thing.
All right. So yeah, don't forget,
Yep.
Joe joins. Don't forget also he has to. Sergio also has the Masters of Metal podcast. If you want to listen to
Right.
Christian heavy metal and Christian brutal. I say that because I don't like screamer type of music, even though I do love heavy metal. Okay, so yeah. Anyways, you can find me here on Kennethan Live on Twitter. I do tend to play a variety of games. Train Thursdays. I've been playing some Iron Harvest. I know it's an RTS mech, but right now I am currently guiding a train through the mountains. Okay, through past all the enemies. So I have some train involvement with that. So there's that. I've been playing MMOs with regards to WoW. I have not touched anything else recently. I am playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla tomorrow. Okay, it launches tomorrow at 9:01 p.m. Pacific time. So I'm going to be playing that, have some fun with that. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So there we go. Now we're going to go, especially if you like video, kind of go fishing. And we're trying to finish up in time because coming up at 7 o'clock 7 o'clock Pacific, that's Eastern time, is the Pastors After Dark show. Will they actually go live on time? I don't know. That's the reason why pastors have a band before they do their. I don't know. I'm just joking around with that. Okay, pastors never seem to be on time. I don't know. Is that true or not? No, it's not true. I don't know. Zaziel is a pastor. Are you on time?
I'm normally early, and it
Okay.
aggravates them for some reason.
Oh,
I'm an engineer. I had a lot of engineer friends who don't get on time. But I'm into the WebEx call right a couple minutes beforehand, and then the clock ticks to the hour. I'm alone. I'm like, where's the host? Where's everybody else? I'm like, they start filtering in. So it's by 5 after. I'm like, okay, it's turned to being the meme when I think for work is 5 minutes after is when all meetings start.
I have sisters, so they are they are never on time. So
Well, your oldest sister, yeah. I mean, wasn't the youngest more on time?
here's the trick. You always say that you're going to meet half an hour before you do.
Yep, I used to do that with my sister.
No, but thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show. Check out the further adventures of Kennethan by liking and subscribing and watching me live on twitch.tv/Kennethan.